The cloud. What is the cloud? Why should we even worry about the cloud? Well, I'm going to explain the cloud tonight because I really haven't talked about a lot of computer tech for a while, and I thought, well, this would be a perfect opportunity to talk about the cloud. The cloud can be very dangerous because you can become codependent on the cloud. That's a problem. People today are starting to carry around their phones just like I carry around my music player. Now, let me tell you something. I have my music player, and I have a lot of my music burnt onto CDs. Let me tell you something. When the power goes out, my CDs can still actually play. And this thing can actually play for a while. It can play it for up to 8 hours after the power goes out. But then after that 8 hours is up, you got a problem. But I still have CDs, and I can run them off of batteries. The problem with the cloud is that you start storing all of your documents and all of your videos and all of your everything else onto this cloud. What basically is happening here is that in the old days, it used to be called dumb terminals and servers. And I'm going to illustrate this right now because this is about the best way you're going to understand the cloud. See, we're not getting the whole cloud picture here, and I'm gonna make sure you get it nice and clear. All right, we have this great big box called the server, and I'm gonna mark it with the letter S here. Then we have these other little boxes. And I'm going to mark these with DT. Kind of sloppy here. Your S is your server, and these are dumb terminals here. That's what they used to call them, as dumb terminals. And the reason why they called these dumb terminals is because they didn't actually have a hard drive or anything like that. All your hard drive stuff was done in here. You didn't have hard drives in these things. Okay, so you didn't store anything permanently in your dumb terminals. You only stored things in your server. Well, now, and I'm going to change these. Just give me a second here. The server still hasn't changed. What has changed is that the dumb terminals are now called client computers. Why are they called client computers? Because they actually have a hard drive in them, and you actually store things on that hard drive. Okay? So, you have your server and you have your client. Most people have client computers. I actually have a server. Why? Because I run server software on my computer. The only difference is that mine's a ghost server. In other words, nobody can access that server but me. That's because I locked everybody out except for me. Locked them all out. Okay? So nobody can access my server but me, and more importantly, I don't really have anything in the server part of the system. But I have a server computer, make no mistake about it. Alright, so my computer, if I set the whole thing up the way I want to, would serve out to you and to everybody else in my audience. Now here's the problem. Everybody has these little client computers. They don't have any server software in them at all. I do, they don't. Now, let's say you're wanting to process videos or you want to store pictures or whatever. So you take your stuff and instead of saving them onto a disk or you're saving it onto your hard drive or something like that, you send them to the cloud. Now all your stuff is no longer on your computer, it's on the cloud. Now you say, well, you store videos on the cloud. Yes, I do. But I actually have physical copies of those videos on my computer. They're on my hard drive. Okay? So, I can watch them from my hard drive while you're watching them off of YouTube. And I've kept these for a long time in case anybody had questions about them or whatever. Well, the problem is that people are starting to take it off their hard drives. They're, I don't want the disk, I don't want this, I don't want that. So I'll just make sure everything's on the cloud. Oh, it's nice and safe on the cloud. Oh, it is. Until the power goes out. Then you have no access to anything. You can't pull up your pictures, you can't pull up your videos, you can't pull up anything. So basically, the cloud has just sucked your brains dry. Okay? And the worst part about it is, let's say you're writing a book. Now, you've stored that book on the cloud. You don't have access to that book anymore because the power's out. Now what do? That's the bad thing about the cloud. Even if you have power, let's say the internet goes out for some reason. Let's say the internet equipment at your local cable company or your local telephone company, it goes out. You still have no access to your stuff. That's the problem. Information is being stored on these servers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All kinds of information. Eventually, your brains are going to be sucked into this cloud. One disconnect, you're not going to have any brains either. That's going to be a problem. I've foreseen this happening, and I tell you what, my brains are right up here where they belong. That's the danger of the cloud. The cloud is a wonderful thing until it gets cut off. Then it's not such a wonderful thing. It could be a nightmare. So, what I'm saying to you is that use the cloud, but don't become codependent on the cloud. There's a big difference. Yes, store things on the cloud, but also make sure you have physical copies of everything in your house. That's going to be very important in the future. I know a lot of people don't think that, but it's true. You've got to have physical copies of your stuff on your computer. If you don't want to store it on your hard drive, put it on disks, put it on chips, I don't care. Have hard copies of everything here. And that becomes very important with software as well. Say, well, we don't have to worry about Office anymore. We can access it from the cloud until you lose your internet connection. Then you can't do that anymore. My Microsoft Office is right here on my computer. My video editing software is right here on my computer. I can still operate with or without the internet. The only thing I can't do is send videos to you guys. That's the only thing I can't do. I can do my work right here in this house with my software. That's the big difference between what I have and what some people have. And I know they got these handheld things that, oh, everything's on here. It is. That's the problem. Beware the cloud. Because if you keep storing stuff on the cloud and you don't have hard copies of the stuff on your own, you have no access to it if the internet goes out or if the power goes out. That's the problem. Alright. I think I've talked enough. I think you get the idea of what happens when you store too much on the cloud and you don't rely on yourself. So, hopefully you'll continue to stay tuned. You have a pretty good idea what's going on in the cloud. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. And I thank you for watching and stay tuned.